guys, if you're new to Deception Bites, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. All right, guys, I'm back, and it is Friday, September 27th, and it's 7:14 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm getting an early start tonight because I'm planning on doing 2 videos. So, all right, let's get into it. And I did take last night off. I have a severe back injury, so sometimes the pain gets to be a little bit too much, and I really do not like taking drugs. So I sat it out last night, and I'm feeling a bit better today. So let's get to it. We've got news. All right, guys, let's go back over here and get into it. And I do have some people to thank, and I will thank them at the end of the show and leave all the chat to the end. All right, so let's get going. And the first thing I have here is from the hashtag the persistence. And he said, it looks like a he, said, within 24 hours of the Democrats' impeachment plot, President Donald Trump had raised $5 million from donors in all 50 states. $5 million. And I hear that Donna Brazil had a wonderful little plot. She held a vote to see, well, if you knew then what you know now about Trump, would you still have voted for him? Yeah, overwhelmingly, it backfired on her. It seems like all these things backfire on the Democrats because they are absolutely gobsmacked when they see how actually popular President Trump is and how his supporters see through this ruse that, they never give up. But, I think for the most part, most, if not all, of Trump's supporters see through it for what it is. And we're not concerned about the things that we see about him in the news because we know that even if it has a kernel of truth in there, it's been twisted so much that very little, if any of it, is true. So let's go on here and we will get to the news. All right. Now, let's go here first. Now, some of this is a little bit older because I had it to bring yesterday and didn't. So hopefully some of this will be new to you. Anyway, breaking. John Solomon has documents that prove Joe Biden's extortion prevented Ukrainian officials from indicting his son, Hunter Biden. And John Solomon, of course, is solid. He tells the truth, and even Q has pointed a finger at him as someone that we can trust. So let's trust him. All right. Investigative journalist John Solomon told Sean Hannity on Wednesday night that he has over 400 pages of documents that he will reveal tomorrow that show Hunter Biden's legal team worked with the Ukrainian prosecutors to end the investigation on the vice president's son. And those documents have been released. I have seen them, but have not had a chance to go through them. There's 400 pages, so you can imagine. But, as he promised, he did release those documents. Joe Biden famously bragged on video how he had the investigator looking at his son's Ukrainian gas deals to be fired. Solomon says his news story is hitting tomorrow afternoon, and it's going to strongly dispute Joe Biden's claim of why he got the Ukrainian top prosecutor fired. Solomon will release the documents on Thursday that implicate Joe Biden in the Ukrainian scandal. And of course, we already know that Joe Biden is guilty, Hunter Biden is guilty, that he is the one that actually shook down the Ukrainian president, not Donald Trump. But, they'll always try and flip it. I worked for an organization that really was very, very dark. Darker than anything I saw in the corporate world. And unfortunately, it was a religious organization where you wouldn't expect this. But I remember when I worked there thinking, this is what it must feel like to work for the cabal, really.
and they did these very same things. Whatever they were accused of, they took that and they threw it back at their enemies and accused them of doing what they themselves were doing. So I know this tactic very well. I've seen it in action from very evil people. So that's exactly what they're doing. Anyway, this from Hans, not sure how to pronounce his last name, but his first name's Hans. John Solomon claims to have a bunch of documents that prove that Joe Biden lied when he said firing the prosecutor had nothing to do with Hunter. It had everything to do with Hunter, and we all know it. So let's go on now, because there's a lot more to get to, and we're going to get to it. If not all in this video, which there's no way we can do it all in this video, then we'll pick up on the next. All right, now we're going to skip this because it's a little off topic. May do that in the next one. And this is a little interesting, and even though it may be a little off topic from what we're discussing, it's interesting nonetheless, and I think that it's important. Warren, taxpayers must fund sex reassignment surgery. And I don't think so. Democratic presidential primary candidate Senator Elizabeth Warren launched her fight via social media to have taxpayer dollars fund gender-affirming health care so that transgender Americans can have free sex-changing surgery. Everyone should be able to access high-quality, affordable, gender-affirming health care, but the Trump administration is trying to roll back important protections for trans Americans, Warren tweeted Tuesday. Help fight back by leaving a comment for HHS in protest. And it's interesting because Wall Street has come right out and said, you know what, if she gets the Democrat nomination, if she is the primary, whatever, if she is going to face off between, if it comes down to between her and Trump, we will back Trump. That is what they've said, Wall Street. So there you go. I think that's pretty important. Anyway, with former President Barack Obama's affordable health care, also known as his signature Obamacare plan that unconstitutionally forces Americans to pay for services that they don't want, including abortions for others, being scaled back under President Donald Trump's administration, Warren is determined to recover all the losses for the LGBT community while adding new privileges dubbed as rights. Her tweet took specific aim at the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services in protest of its recently proposed change. Her tweet took specific aim at the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, in protest of its recently proposed change. And I just read that, and I don't know what's wrong with me. The Department of Health and Human Services proposed a rule back in June that would revise a regulation that would remove gender identity as the basis for sex discrimination as a protection for transgender people under the Affordable Care Act, the Washington Examiner reported. Sorry, I was just checking on Xander, who is bound and determined to get in a lot of trouble today. All right. I know, but I love him. Flip-flopping. Similar to the notorious presidential campaign flip-flops of former Senator John Kerry, who she followed as a Democratic Massachusetts senator in 2013, Warren has stood on both sides of the issue when it comes to taxpayer-funded gender transplant surgery for transgenders. And in the past, Warren has taken heat from progressive activists for saying that she felt providing gender reassignment surgery for a prison inmate was not a good use of taxpayer dollars, the Blaze recounted. She has changed her tune since announcing her run for the White House, and of course, why wouldn't she if she thought it was going to bring her more votes? Do you think she really cares about any of these issues? Of course not. Do you think she'll follow through on any of them? Maybe. Maybe not. She just wants to get in. That's it. And she'll tell us whatever she thinks we want to hear. When she was running for senator in 2012, she agreed with a conservative rival that taxpayers shouldn't have to pay for transgenders to have operations that mutilate and cosmetically change their sexual organs. Warren, who was previously scrutinized back in January for saying in a 2012 sensational debate with the then Massachusetts Republican Senator Scott Brown that she too thought using taxpayer money for gender reassignment surgery on a prisoner was wrong, now seeks support from LGBTQ activist community, the Examiner's Carrie Pickett noted. Well, of course, because she feels that that's probably a big voting bloc when really it's not as big as they would like to have us believe. Warren, okay, I already read that, and there is no need for me to read it again. Now, a spokesperson for Warren's 2020 presidential campaign is making it clear that she is fully behind the LGBTQ community to the extent of veterans, soldiers, and prisoners getting gender reassignment surgeries, with taxpayers picking up the tab. Senator Warren supports access to medically necessary services, including transition-related surgeries, the spokesperson told Think Progress in January. This includes procedures taking place at the VA, in the military, or at correctional facilities. Trying to get more votes from LGBT community than from the LGBT community than her other pro-LGBT presidential candidates, Warren took to Twitter last month after an African-American trans woman, Denali Berry Stuckley, was murdered in South Carolina, in order to affirm to transgenders and minority groups that she will be pushing for special hate crimes legislation against those committing violence against them. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with, okay, obviously, if somebody kills somebody simply because, I don't agree with the lifestyle or anything else, but it's not about that. It's about, they have rights as human beings, and they have a right to safety. And if somebody targets another person specifically for that reason and kills them, then yes, I think that that is a hate crime, personally. You may disagree, and you are free to. So Warren, an Oklahoma native, but she's not an Oklahoma native. Yeah, let's not go there. Also tried to appeal to American Indians and get their votes by identifying with them as a minority when she insisted she is part Native American, which many critics have argued is a false claim given her name, Pocahontas. In addition, Warren has inserted herself into the LGBT preferred gender pronouns debate as employees, employers, students, and teachers have faced legislation, punishment, expulsion, or termination for not using the correct gender pronouns suggested to them, or rather forced upon them by transgenders. For doing so, members of the LGBT community, including feminist Miriam Ben Shalom, the first lesbian reinstated to the U.S. Army after being kicked out for identifying as homosexual, criticized Warren for pandering to the ultra-left activists. With civility and no ill will, please stop with the pronoun silliness, Ben Shalom wrote to Warren in an open letter, according to PJ Media. We know you are a woman. Perhaps 1 million transhumans will not elect you, but common sense women could. Instead of pandering to the trans lobby, may I respectfully request that you look at what women are losing in terms of sports, safety, medical services, parental rights, and basic human rights, such as the right to privacy, not to mention the horrors of medical experimentation on children by trans-supporting big pharma and big medicine. So I'm not going to go on with this because, blah, 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 blah. But there you have it. She thinks that we as taxpayers need to fund sexual reassignment surgery. I am vehemently opposed to that. I think that there are other things that should be funded before that. But anyway, there you go. And let's go back. Do I have a cat behind me? Because I feel like I have a cat behind me. I'm not going to look, but I just have that feeling. And won't I sound silly if there is no cat behind me? I will. All right, let's go back now. And let's go down here. Now, I don't know what to think about this because I think that we've been thrown a lot of stuff about this whole whistleblower thing. In fact, this person wasn't really a whistleblower, but we'll get into that. But here's something from Mike. Meet Sue Gordon, disgruntled DNI employee who resigned after not receiving the DNI position. She's fingered as the one responsible for the phony Ukrainian phone call BS. I don't know, because I've heard that it is a man as well, but I've heard several outlets suggest that it is this woman, who has some interesting ties to, well, the usual band of suspects. All right, let's go on now, and we're going to take a look at this, because we can, and we will. This from the Federalist. And it says, let's just see how long this is. Is this? Hang on here. Yeah, I'll get it together. CNN just yada, 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 540 words to frame Trump for favor he never requested. Now, this is from September 25th, but it's still pertinent. In the media's efforts to tie President Donald Trump with its latest conspiracy theory, CNN skipped an entire section of the released and unredacted transcript of a phone call to charge Trump with requesting a favor he never asked for. Below is the text from the transcript of the July phone call between Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at the center of the latest media outrage cycle. And Trump said, "I would like you to do us a favor, though, because our country has been through a lot and Ukraine knows a lot about it. I would like you to find out what happened with this whole situation with Ukraine. They say CrowdStrike. I guess you have one of your wealthy people. The server, they say Ukraine has it. There are lots of things that went on, the whole situation. I think you're surrounding yourself with some of the same people. I would like to have the Attorney General call you and your people, and I would like you to get to the bottom of it. As you said yesterday, that whole nonsense ended with a very poor performance by a man named Robert Mueller, an incompetent performance, but they say a lot of it started with Ukraine. Whatever you can do, it's very important that you do it if that's possible." I don't hear any shakedown there, do you? I don't hear any quid pro. Do you? All right. The transcript that CNN read on air, however, connects the word favor in this section with Trump 540 words later asking the Ukrainian leader to look into former Vice President Joe Biden and his son Hunter's questionable business dealings with a Ukrainian energy company. Hunter sat on the board of the company, as we know, $50,000 a month, while, as Joe Biden bragged in 2018 on camera, his dad put pressure on the Ukrainian government to end a corruption probe into the company. Now, that much we know. And this Andrew Clark, hey everyone, if you are reporting on the favor line from the transcript without mentioning that the very next sentence is about wanting an investigation into meddling in the 2016 election, you are being misleading. It's right here. Come on. And here it says, I would like you to do us a favor, though, because our country has been through a lot, just like we just read. And then President Zelensky responds to what Trump said and says, yes, it is very important for me and everything that you just mentioned earlier. For me as a president, it is very important, and we are open for any future cooperation. We are ready to open a new page on cooperation in the relations between the United States and Ukraine. And then he says CNN just skipped right over it on air earlier this afternoon. Well, of course they did, because CNN is trying to frame President Trump, just like they've been trying to do all along, from the start, way back before he was even elected. Here's the transcript. As reported by CNN. I would like you to do us a favor. There's a lot of talk about Biden's son, that Biden stopped the prosecution, and a lot of people want to find out about that. So whatever you can do with Attorney General would be great. Biden went around bragging that he stopped the prosecution. So if you look into him, it sounds horrible to me. Did you hear any of that in the original? No, that's not what he said at all. And we all know it. And MSNBC's Katie Tour made the same omission. I'm shocked. No, I'm not. Nobody's shocked. Yeah. Will you do me a favor? And this is from MSNBC. Will you do me a favor and investigate Vice President Biden's son? Will you do me a favor and get involved in the 2020 election? Vice President Biden is my chief political opponent, Tour said. National Public Radio, NPR, also skipped over more than 500 words of the transcript to tie favor to the latter part of the conversation mentioning Biden, all to suggest Trump demanded foreign meddling in the U.S. election. See how that works? Yeah, they do it so easily, and with a straight face. They can lie to you on camera with a straight face. And they go home and sleep like babies. I don't get it. I don't. If I did something like that, for real, it would bother me and eat at me. I wouldn't sleep. I wouldn't want to eat. I could not do that. Not without paying the penalty for my error. I just couldn't. Anyway, this from Alex Griswold. The highlighted ellipsis in the NPR story represents 526 words. And this is from NPR. I would like you to do us a favor, Trump asked President Vladimir Zelensky, according to the official account released on Wednesday. Continued Trump, according to the memo, I would like you to find out what happened with this whole situation in Ukraine. There's a lot of talk about Biden's son, that Biden stopped the prosecution, and a lot of people want to find out about that. So whatever you can do with the Attorney General would be great. Biden went around bragging that he stopped the prosecution. So if you can look into it, it sounds horrible to me. That's not what Trump said. Not what he said. And personally, I believe that Trump has a very good basis for suing the pants off these people. And I hope he does literally sue the pants off them so that they can't even afford a pair of pants, even if they wanted them, which they probably do. Most people wear pants. Even women wear pants a lot. All right. The stunning omissions came as, I don't know where that diatribe about pants came from. I don't know. Anyway, the stunning omissions came as Democrats are jumping on an uncorroborated complaint from an anonymous whistleblower alleging Trump urged the Ukraine president to investigate American political opponents. The White House released the fully unredacted version of the July phone call in question today. It contradicted the complaint, revealing no quid pro quo with the Ukrainian government as the hearsay accusations claimed. The intelligence inspector general had rated the hearsay complaint credible and urgent, but other agencies refused to move them up the legal food chain due to lack of supporting evidence. So, yeah, there you go with that. And we've got other stuff that's tied right into it. So let's get to it. And let me see. Let's look at this. Yeah. Representative Schiff fabricates what Trump said in Ukraine phone call transcript. Oh, of course, we've got little Lidlee, and of course we know where that comes from and what he is involved in, aka Standard Hotel. Yeah, he knows all about that. He's all in that. Yeah, and most of you that have been listening for a long time know exactly what I'm talking about. Those who don't, well, I don't want to take the time now to get into that because that is a whole can of worms in and of itself. So anyway, California Democratic Representative Adam Schiff read a portion of a transcript of a telephone conversation between President Donald Trump and his Ukraine counterpart Thursday before the House Intelligence Committee, but the congressman largely fabricated the president's words. Oh, I'm shocked. Would he do that? No. Yeah? I don't know. I give up on these people. Really. I give up on them. I don't see any redeeming qualities in any of them. Maybe a few Democrats, yes, but the majority of the ones that are in the news all the time, no redeeming qualities at all. Schiff claimed he was reading the essence of the president's words to the committee's witness, acting director of national intelligence, Joseph Maguire. Yeah, sure he was. Now, let's listen to little Adam Schiff.
Is the essence of what the president communicates. We've been very good to your country, very good. No other country has done as much as we have. But you know what? I don't see much reciprocity here. I hear what you want. I have a favor I want from you, though. And I'm going to say this only 7 times, so you better listen good. I want you to make up dirt on my political opponent, understand lots of it. On this and on that. I'm going to put you in touch with people, and not just any people. I'm going to put you in touch with Attorney General of the United States, my Attorney General, Bill Barr. He's got the whole weight of the American law enforcement behind him. And I'm going to put you in touch with Rudy. You're going to love him, trust me. You know what I'm asking, and so I'm only going to say this a few more times, in a few more ways. And by the way, don't call me again. I'll call you when you've done what I asked. This is, in sum and character, what the president was trying to communicate with the president of Ukraine. It would be funny if it wasn't such a graphic portrayal of the president's oath of office. But as it does represent a real betrayal, there's nothing the president says here that is in America's interest, after all. It is instead the most consequential force.
Now, the interesting thing is, now, of course, we know, having read it, that this does not correspond to what President Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky said at all. Not at all. There was nothing of that nature in there, and he stood up there and blatantly lied and thinks he can get away with it by saying, well, in essence, that's what he said. No, actually, I have a master's in English, and I'm very good at reading comprehension, very good. And I'm sure there are just as many people out there that are good or not better than me at reading comprehension. So when I read that, what was actually said, I didn't get any of that at all. There was no quid pro quo. There was no shaking down. In fact, he invented a lot of that. There was nothing of that nature in what he said. So now to protect himself, because everyone is extremely upset about this, because anybody that knows and has read that, that might work for people that have never read it and don't care. That might work. They might say, yeah, he's probably telling the truth. But now that there's a backlash against him, he's saying, oh, that was just parody. It was just spoof. Oh, really? Do you actually go and do a spoof? I mean, really? Really? He wants us to believe this is a spoof, a parody. Okay, right, Adam. You're in a lot of trouble. And he said this is the essence of what the president communicates. The congressman on Wednesday compared Trump's word to Volodymyr Zelensky as akin to a mafia-like shakedown. And he apparently read that perception into his interpretation of the transcript of that conversation. Schiff continued, making it up as he went along. I want you to make up dirt on my political opponent. That was never said, not once. Understand, lots of it. On this and on that. I'm going to put you in touch with people, not just any people. I'm going to put you in touch with the Attorney General of the United States. He didn't say that. It is completely fabricated. The House Intelligence Committee chairman even suggested that Trump told Zelensky, and I'm going to put you in touch with Rudy. You're going to love him. Trust me. You know what I'm asking, and so I'm only going to say this a few more times in a few more ways. None of that was stated. None of it. None of it. It's not in there. The idea of it is not even in there. The only essence that he communicated is the essence of caca, poo-poo. I don't know how else to say it. Shite. That is the essence of what he communicated. Schiff has said he believes impeachment of the president can be used as a tool to expose Trump's alleged misconduct. Right, Adam Schiff. We believe you. He honestly has got to be one of him, Schumer, Pelosi, and Waters, probably the slimiest, and Kamala, slimy people, literally. They wouldn't know the truth if it tap danced across their face and knocked on their eyeballs. They would not. So anyway, let's go back now because there's more. There's always more. Really. Okay. Now I want to get to, and I've got a lot here today, so I want to get to this part that, hang on, I'll find it, maybe, or not. This is it. This is what I want to get to before we end this one, and we've still got a little bit. All right, so this again is by the Federalist. Intel community secretly gutted requirement of first-hand whistleblower knowledge. Federal records show that the Intelligence Committee secretly revised the formal whistleblower complaint form in August 2019 to eliminate the requirement of direct first-hand knowledge of wrongdoing. This right here proves to me that they had decided to do this back in August. That phone call was from July. They have planned this out. That proves it to me. Because before, you had to have first-hand knowledge. Oh, but they went in and they secretly revised it. So, no, if you have second, third, or fourth-hand knowledge, that's good enough for us. They changed that knowing that they would need it changed for what they were going to do. That it proves that this is collusion on their part. Again, how many times has there been collusion? None on President Trump's side. Several times on the Democrat side. I've lost count. So anyway, between May 2018 and August 2019, the intelligence community secretly eliminated a requirement that whistleblowers provide direct first-hand knowledge of alleged wrongdoings. This raises questions about the intelligence community's behavior regarding the August submission of a whistleblower complaint against President Donald Trump. The new complaint document no longer requires potential whistleblowers who wish to have their concerns expedited to Congress to have direct first-hand knowledge of the alleged wrongdoing that they are reporting. The brand new version of the whistleblower complaint form, which was not made public until after the transcript of Trump's July 25th phone call with the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, and the complaint addressed to Congress was made public, eliminates the first-hand knowledge requirement and allows employees to file whistleblower complaints even if they have zero direct knowledge of underlying evidence and only heard about wrongdoing from others. The internal properties of the newly revised disclosure of urgent concern form, which the Intelligence Community Inspector General requires to be submitted under the Intelligence Community Whistleblower Protection Act, show that the document was uploaded September 24th, 2019 at 4:25 p.m., just days before the anti-Trump complaint was declassified and released to the public. The markings on the document state that it was revised in August 2019, but no specific date of revision is disclosed. Something very, very, very wrong with this. Doesn't smell right, does it? at all. The complaint alleges that President Donald Trump broke the law during a phone call with the Ukrainian president. In his complaint, which was dated August 12th, 2019, the complainant acknowledged he was not a direct witness to the wrongdoing he claimed Trump committed. A previous version of the whistleblower complaint document, which the ICIG and DNI until recently provided to potential whistleblowers, declared that any complaint must contain only first-hand knowledge of alleged wrongdoing, and that complaints that provide only hearsay, rumor, or gossip would be rejected. So that's what it's always been, that you're a whistleblower if you have first-hand knowledge. It's ridiculous that you would be a whistleblower if just it was hearsay. You overheard something that someone heard that's not the whole essence of the Whistleblower Act, or the whatever they call it. There's another name for it. I think we read it up here, but let's go on. We're not going to read all this. Okay, so no specific date of revision is disclosed. The complaint alleges that President Donald Trump broke the law during a phone call with Ukrainian president. In his complaint, which was dated August 12, 2019, the complainant acknowledged he was not a direct witness to the wrongdoing he claims Trump committed. A previous version of the whistleblower complaint document, and we already read that everything else would be rejected except for firsthand knowledge. The intelligence community inspector general cannot transmit information via the ICPWA based on an employee's secondhand knowledge of wrongdoing. The previous form stated under the bold heading, first-hand information required. This includes information received from another person, such as when an employee informs you that she witnessed some type of wrongdoing. If you think that wrongdoing took place but can provide nothing more than secondhand or unsubstantiated assertions, the intelligence community inspector general will not be able to process the complaint or information for submission as an ICWPA, the form concluded. Markings on the previous version of the disclosure of urgent concern form shows that it was formally approved on May 24th, 2018. Here is that original disclosure of urgent concern form prior to the August 2019 revision. So we're not going to go through all this, but it says the Ukraine call complaint against Trump is riddled not with evidence directly witnessed by the complainant, but with repeated references to what anonymous officials allegedly told the complainant. I have received information from multiple U.S. government officials. Officials have informed me. Officials with direct knowledge of the call informed me. The White House officials who told me this information. I was told by White House officials. The officials I spoke with. I was told that the State Department official. I learned from multiple U.S. officials. One White House official described this act based on multiple readouts of the meetings recounted to me. I also learned from multiple U.S. officials. The U.S. officials characterized this meeting. Multiple U.S. officials told me. I learned from U.S. officials. So the whole thing is riddled with this. The repeated reference to information the so-called whistleblower never witnessed clearly run afoul of the original ICIG requirements for urgent concern submissions. The change to the urgent concern submissions form was first highlighted on Twitter by researcher Stephen McIntyre. The complainant also cites publicly available news articles as proof of many of the allegations. I was not a direct witness to most of the events characterized in the document, the complainant confesses on the first page of his August 12th letter, which was addressed to Representative Adam Schiff and Senator Richard Burr, the respective chairman of the House and Senate committees. Hearsay is generally inadmissible as evidence in the U.S. federal and state courts since it violates the constitutional requirements that the accused be given an opportunity to answer to question his accusers. The anti-Trump complaint also made several false claims that have been directly refuted and debunked. While the complaint alleges that Trump demanded the Ukraine physically return multiple servers, potentially related to ongoing investigations of foreign interference in the 2016 election, the transcript of the call between Trump and Zelensky shows that such a request was never made. The complainant also falsely alleged that Trump told Zelensky that he should keep the current prosecutor general at the time, Yuri Lusenko, in his current position in the country. The transcript showed that exchange also did not happen. Additionally, the complaint falsely alleges that T. Ulrich Breschel, the U.S. State Department official, was a party to the phone call between Trump and Zelensky. I was told that a State Department official also listened in on the call, the complaint alleged. Shortly after the complaint was released, CBS News reported that Breschel, however you pronounce that, was not on the phone call. In the legal opinion that was released to the public, along with the phone call transcript, the Department of Justice, DOJ, Office of Legal Counsel, OLC, determined that the complaint submission was statutorily deficient and therefore was not required to be submitted to Congress. The White House, nonetheless, declassified and released the document to Congress late Wednesday evening. The complaint does not arise in connection with the operation of any U.S. government intelligence activity, and the alleged misconduct does not involve any member of the intelligence community. The September 3rd OLC opinion noted, rather, the complaint arises out of a confidential diplomatic communication between the president and a foreign leader that the intelligence community complainant received secondhand. The question is whether such a complaint falls within the statutory definition of urgent concern that the law requires the DNI to forward to the intelligence committees. The OLC opinion continued. We conclude that it does not. It is not known precisely when the August 2019 revision to the whistleblower complaint form was approved, nor is it known which, if any, version of the disclosure of urgent concern form the complainant completed prior to addressing his complaint to Congress. Reached by phone on Friday afternoon, a Director of National Intelligence official refused to comment on any questions about the secret revision to the whistleblower form, including when it was revised to eliminate the requirement of first-hand knowledge and for what reason. I think we all know for what reason. I don't think that needs to be questioned. We know that already. Just more of the same crap we've been putting up with for longer than 2 years, actually, because before Trump was even elected, they were doing this kind of nonsense. So we've put up with this crap for a long time as taxpayers. They're wasting our money. They're wasting our time. They're wasting the airwaves, going over and over stuff that isn't even true. I mean, really, when do these members of Congress and representatives, when do they actually do the work that they were tasked to do? When do they ever serve the people of their constituents? When do they have time to do that? They don't. And they don't. So, I don't know, but I'm really sick to death of it. And someone said, about... I don't know, it was a comment about, well, your back hurts because, you need to rest because this is very stressful. It is very stressful. Reading through all this stuff stresses me out. I'll admit it, because I get so angry, and then I think, what can I do about it? And I feel like I'm doing the only thing I can, which is tell others, alert others. I mean, I know you guys are awake, and I know that you take what you hear from the news and, from alternate news sources. Hopefully you're not taking it from CNN, and you disseminate what you know. So I guess in that way, doing some small thing, but I don't know. I can't wait until this gets all tied up, and the people that need to go to jail, go to jail. And the people that need to hang, unfortunately, I don't wish death upon anyone, but I do think that there are people that need to hang for what they've done to our country. So let's go on. And we're going to need to wrap up here in a minute because I do need to, I'm sorry, but I'm doing laundry while I'm doing this. So I need to switch my clothes over and come and record. So anyway, I know that's far too much information. Actually, I think I am going to quit here because I still do need to thank some people, and let's thank them. Oh, I need to go back over here. And let me see here. We've got these are coffee donations. We've got Ines H. from New Jersey. Thank you very much. Dahlia from Australia. Thank you. And I love to hear from, I know there's a whole group of people that watch me in Australia, and I think that's so cool because, I don't know, I had a very good friend of mine that she came straight to the States from Australia. I loved her accent, and it was just interesting to see her perspective on the States and everything, because she was just brand new to the States. So anyway, I have a love in my heart for Australia. And Barb B, I know who you are. Thank you. Joanna, I know who you are. Thank you. And Anon, I did not go and try to figure out who you are because I figure if you put Anon, then you want to be anonymous. So thank you very much. And Jacqueline, I hope I pronounce this right. Jacqueline Macrillis? I hope I got that right. Anyway, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys, and it helps me to continue what I do, so it's very important. And also, sorry, I hit that. I wanted to show you this, and it is from C. Thomas and from Indiana, and this is so cool. I'm gonna make sure I got her name right too. Let me just. Is C. Thomas, a woman, and I want to show you what she did. Now, I don't know if any of you would be interested in this, but she didn't tell me. If she said she just did it for her friends, but I think she should open a little Etsy shop or something like that, because look, it's like a little keychain or whatever, and it's got a Q on it and these two little leather tabs here. And this is all beadwork. It's beadwork. So there's a lot of work that went into this. A lot. I think it's pretty cool. And she's even got the shadow of the Q on there. And there's one in black. Now, isn't that, I thought that was just so clever. Just a little keychain like, and I love them. Thank you so much. And yeah, if any of you guys would be interested in this, and I don't know if she does it beyond her friends or not, but I think they're pretty neat. So anyway, let me know. And I'm going to be back tonight, wafting around like a bad smell. And that's it. So you guys have a great evening. I'm going to change my laundry over. I know, too much 411, but that's what I'm going to do. And then I'll be back. Okay, guys. Good night. Stay safe. Keep seeking truth. Bye-bye.